Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right, ladies. I'm going to share my screen. Um, I can't find it. Hold on.
Hey everyone, do you mind go ahead and muting yourselves? If you have any questions as things come up, you can go ahead and post it in the chat, and I'll, when there's a reasonable break, I'll make sure to read it out loud for you. Thumbs up if that's cool. Excellent, thank you.
All right. Everybody can see me, hear me well? Perfect. All right, so I'm looking at some of your faces, so thank you. All right, so this is Essential Guide to Macros and Calories. We're going to roll right through it. All right, so I'm imagining no one on this call knows me. So, hi guys, my name is Coach Cailah. Education, got a bachelor's in science, exercise science, and fitness management, and a master's of science in coaching education and exercise physiology. Certifications: personal trainer, health coach, strength and conditioning specialist, and all of that jazz. Publications: I wrote a book called Design Your Body, Your Guide to Cutting Through the Fat. I'm also a published journal, scientific journal article, a journal author, writer. Yeah, I'm in a scientific journal. It was pretty freaking cool, right? And the title of that thing, whatever it is called Guidelines for Sport Coaches on Core Strengthening Techniques for Athletes, Improving Performance and Decreasing the Occurrence of Low Back Pain. Okay. And got a few awards along the way. So that's a little bit about me. Now, about Design Your Body Academy. So, as you know, Design Your Body Academy, we are an online personal training and nutrition coaching program. Okay, so we are a team of trainers, nutrition coaches, nutritionists, all that get together to help you design the body of your dreams, not based on BMI, but based off what you want to see for yourself, your life, your health. Oh, and we do it all online. That's my little online from camera to computer little thing right there. So our goal, if you didn't know, our goal is to provide high quality services that educate, inform, empower, and aid 1,000 members per year in the fight against unwanted fat, diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and even simple dissatisfactions that you may see in the mirror. And this is how we do it. Okay. We do it through our online programs. Our primary programs are online personal training and our online nutrition coaching. Okay. So everything that we do is going to be online in these main forms, either separately or together. Free stuff. If you are not in it already, please go ahead and join our Facebook group. Go to facebook.com/groups. Mia will put that in the chat for you. If you're not in it already, we also have a 14-day free trial for our 12-week challenge, which is one of our intro programs into our elite coaching. And then shoot us an email, designbodyacademy at gmail.com. All right, so about today. So Mia's got the chat. So again, this usually I do my presentations where it's kind of a, we go back and forth, we're having a conversation, but this is going to be more of a lecture based. So if you have a question, please go ahead and post your question in the chat. Mia will interrupt me as necessary, like as we go through, because it might be on the subject that I'm talking about. So please feel free to add your questions in the chat. Keep your mics on mute just in case. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, guys. So starting out the foundation, all right. Have you ever heard of calories in versus calories out? Give me a hands raised. All right, a couple of us heard of calories in versus calories out. There has been some recent talk within the past, 2 to 3 years about how people are trying to debunk this. But at the end of the day, you can't debunk it because your body is a beautiful machine, and that machine has to follow certain principles. It has to follow certain rules and laws, right? So if you ever hear somebody saying, "Well, it's not about calories," it is. There are other things that can affect those calorie balances, such as your hormones, and if your machinery is actually operating properly or optimally. So that can affect how your body processes calories. But end of the day, this is what's most important. So if you notice, there's a scale, literally, okay? The more calories you consume, that's what calories in is, right? So the more calories you consume through food, right, the more weight you could possibly gain if the balance is not appropriate, Okay. So now let's look at calories out. Calories in is only food. That's the only way that you can gain a calorie is through food. Okay. Now let's look at calories out. Calories out, we start off with what we call basal metabolic rate. Now, I'm going to try my best not to go super sciencey, but you did sign up for a webinar. So get your pens and pencils out and be ready to take some notes. All right. So BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. What that means, long story short, is the minimum amount of energy that your body needs on a day-to-day basis, eliminating all activity, right? So this is just main body function. All right. So this is the minimum amount of your body needs on a day-to-day basis just to sustain life. All right. That's your basal metabolic rate. Now, so that basal metabolic rate, it has a certain level of calories. Your basal metabolic rate could be anywhere from 1,000 to, 15, 16, 1,700 calories just by itself. We're not including feeding the muscle. We're not including feeding, your other areas of your body. So it's just the basal metabolic rate. Okay. The next thing that helps to tip the scale in terms of calories in versus calories out is TEF. TEF stands for the thermic effect of food. Okay. So has anyone had a big old juicy steak, right? And you ate it and it tasted good and it felt good on your body. And then you're just like, oh, my stomach feels heavy. It's just so, oh, anybody felt heavy after eating, a big meal or red meat? Raise your hand for me. Yeah. Okay. So what happens is the thermic effect of food, what that is it takes energy for your body to actually break down calories. All right. Some calories are more metabolically expensive than others. So calories, we're going to use calories the same way we use money. All right. So we want to spend more calories than we want to take in calories. All right. If our goal is weight loss, if our goal is fat loss, we want to spend more calories. We want to take in calories. So that means that in terms of our food, we understand that as we eat food, it takes energy for our body to simply digest the food that we ate. All right. So the thermic effect of food allows us to, yet again, burn more calories. Okay, so going in. Another thing is simply exercise activity. One of my favorite things to do. All right. So another way to tip the scale and help you kind of balance out or help you eat, eat a decent amount of food while still burning more calories is exercising. All right. Exercise is a huge factor. Obviously, if you have a Fitbit or a Samsung watch or iWatch, whatever it's called, there is a way to exercise to burn calories so that you are burning the food that you are taking in and decreasing that balance. Okay. Now, lastly, we spoke on this in the previous lecture is NEAT. NEAT, N-E-A-T. NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay. So activity is costly to your body, meaning it costs calories, it costs energy. So you see me right now. The girl coach Cailah is always bouncing. I'm always moving because I'm trying to increase my NEAT. What that means is I am burning calories right now, but I'm not exercising. I exercised this morning. I don't have time to exercise tonight, right? But I'm still burning calories. So by incorporating more, let's say longer walks, right? If I park further away from the store, that's not exercise, but it increases my needs, right? Let's say I choose to take the steps at the school or at work or whatever. Not exercising, but I'm increasing my NEAT, okay? I wish my little scale could kind of teeter-totter, right? But with your basal metabolic rate, the minimum that your body needs to burn to stay alive, that costs calories. Okay. So the thermic effect of food. So when you do consume food, it costs calories and energy for your body to actually digest that food. And some calories are more costly. They burn more calories, more energy than others. Exercise obviously burns calories. And then also your needs, standing, walking, bouncing, fidgeting, right? All of those things, dancing, cooking, cleaning, all of those things that aren't exercise based, they can still help you, again, live an active lifestyle. Okay. So, in order to, let's say everybody's goal is weight loss, I'm just going to assume that in order to lose weight, we want to make sure that our calories out is going to be heavier and outweigh our calories in. Okay. Now, obviously, there are other ways to do it. Let's say you're not about exercise. You don't like it, you don't want to do it, that's just not your thing. Your base metabolic rate is still a factor. The thermic effective food is still a factor, and so is your NEAT. So you can be physically active, like gardening, walking the dogs, again, walking further away, escalators, whatever. You can still be active, right? And still put yourself in a caloric deficit. Now, what happens is you just have to balance out the numbers. You got to balance out the math. So let's just keep it simple. Let's say that you are on a 2,000 calorie diet. Okay. So you're consuming 2,000 calories. So everything that you do for calories out, it will either add to, right? So that you can kind of take away the calories or burn more calories, or it may not be enough. So look through your day to day. Okay. We'll go through the BMR and things like that later, but look at the day to day, look at your exercise specifically, because you can change that. Look at your needs specifically, because you can change that. If you want to burn more calories without reducing how much food you eat, increase your NEAT, increase your exercise activity, and increase the nutrients that cost more energy to actually burn. So you're burning food while you're eating. Okay. So this is kind of our foundation. Everybody got that? Everybody good? Thumbs up. Any questions on this point right here? Any questions?
Again.
Hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Come on in. Come on in. All right. So we're in our presentation. Okay. Now going through, the next part is goal-oriented calories. All right. So we understand how our body operates between, burning calories for exercise through NEAT, through thermic effective food, as well as the food that we consume. So if I'm on a 2,000 calorie diet, but I don't want to exercise, but I can reduce my calories to maybe 1,500, right? And increase my NEAT. And then I can still kind of swish that ratio, and I can still look towards losing weight. All right. The next part again is goal-oriented calories. There are pretty much 3 things that we can do with that same balance of calories in versus calories out. If we want to lose fat, we want to lose overall weight, ideally fat mass. That's the most important thing. That means that my calories out have to be more than my calories in. So exercise, NEAT, all that has to be heavier. Okay. Now, my calories for muscle gain. If I want to build muscle and I'm not super, I don't really care if I gain a few pounds, then my calories in can be more than my calories out. All right. Now there's a balance to that. We'll get into macro balances later. But if I want to gain muscle, my calories in can be more than my calories out. All right. Again, we'll get into the balance of macros later. And then you also have maintenance. So if you've ever gone through a situation where, let me go back. If you've ever gone through a situation where you've exercised, right? You were doing a thing and you lost 20, 30 pounds, and then something happened and you just stopped losing weight. Anybody been through that? All right, I have. So this is what happens to your body. Okay, again, let's just say that you are consuming 2,000 calories just for numbers. All right. Let's say that your BMR is 1,000 calories there. That means the washout is we have 1,000 calories that we need to burn. But as your body as you get used to exercise, your body becomes more efficient. Therefore, you don't burn as many calories doing the same exercises that you did in the past. Okay. Same thing with NEAT. As your body becomes more efficient, meaning that the process by which it actually burns those calories isn't as expensive. So me bouncing, 4 months ago may have cost 10 calories per hour. Me bouncing now may cost 5 calories. But if I'm eating the exact same, my numbers are going to balance out. Does that make sense? I'll rephrase. So if you are trying to lose weight, you've gone through a period where you've lost a lot of weight, but you're still doing the same thing. You're still eating 2,000 calories, okay? You're still, doing the same exercise. Your body is becoming more efficient. And when you've lost weight, so should your calories change. So you might be in a position where you end up gaining weight because you're overeating based off of your current lifestyle. Okay? So calories are super important. They have to be adjusted as you lose weight. Okay? So that's the balance there. Okay? Now, again, getting into our calories. So this is a little random picture of somebody's fitness, someone's active calories. What is this? iPhone. I don't have iPhones. So I don't know what the circles mean, but I know they mean something about action and activity. So if you have an iPhone, you know what this means, okay? So again, when we look at calories in, we want to understand, number one, what is our basal metabolic rate? What is the minimum amount of calories that my body needs on a daily basis to survive? Can I go under that level? I mean, sure. Yeah, you can. That's okay. But you don't want to go under that level for too long. Okay. Now, also, again, we want to look at calories in versus calories out. So in finding our basal metabolic rates, guess what we need? We need a calorie calculator. Okay. So everyone in our nutrition coaching programs here at Design Your Body Academy, we have our own calorie calculator that we use, right? I created it. Thanks. So what we actually do is we go in and we take all your information and we create calories that are based off of your age, your height, your weight, your gender, your activity level. And we also calculate in the thermic effect of food. We also calculate in your activity level. So that allows us to understand, where are you now? A couple months down the road, then we'll change it as your body changes. But, right, if you're not, here are some things that you need to look for when you're trying to find a calorie calculator. You need to look for a calculator that is going to ask you, what is your lean mass? In other words, something that's not just asking your weight. If it only asks your weight, it's going to assume that, okay, well, the average 38-year-old woman, weighing this much is X amount of body fat, or has this amount of body fat, which may not be you. If you're overweight, that doesn't apply to you. If you're underweight, that doesn't apply to you either. So make sure that when you're looking for a calorie calculator, you want to have something that either finds lean body mass or body fat percentage, your age, your gender, and your activity level. Okay. So on this next screen, this is an activity. This is an activity for you. I want you, Coach Mia is going to put this link in the chat. We're actually going to go through this together. All right. We're going to go through this together. So go ahead and take this link. All right. It's in the chat. You can get to it on your phone. It's just swipe one of the ways or press one of the buttons and find where the chat is. So you can get to that on your phone. And we're going to go through this. And I want to make sure you guys can still see my screen. Bear with me. To all the newcomers, hello, hello. Okay. All right, I am sharing my full screen now. And we're going to go right here. All right, so copy and paste. As long as it took me to get there, you should be able to get here too. This is the formula that I like. Okay, it's called Catch McCardle. It's one of the formulas that I like. Now, the only thing about this calculator is that it does not ask you your own personal activity level. So it will assume your activity level. Okay. So pros and cons of not being, a part of Design Your Body Academy, just saying. But we're going to go through this together. Okay. So as you go through, if you click this little button here, it says, do you know your lean body mass? Some of you may have scales that can tell you what your fat mass is or what your lean mass is. That means you would know it. Okay. If you don't, it's okay. All right. So if you know it, you say, I know my fat mass, my lean body mass, which is, all of your body mass minus the fat. Or if you know your body mass, which is the reverse. Okay. So I'm going to put this in here. Okay. So I know my body fat percentage. Let's just say my body fat percentage is 23%. Okay. Let's say I weigh about 150, and this is calculating everything else. This formula is based off of body or lean fat mass. Okay. So this is saying, hey, my basal metabolic rate is just about 1500. Okay. So let's say I don't know my lean body mass. So let's say that my weight 150. I'm gonna be the same person. Height 5'6". Female. Okay. It's assuming my lean body mass. In this example, this formula gives me 1405, which is 100 calories different. All right. So what you need to understand is that all calorie calculators are estimates. All right. And that's okay. Sometimes you got to go with what you got and you will be completely fine. So with your calorie calculator, find one that you like and stick with it. And then we can take this number and then we can add the other factors to it. Okay. Have you guys gone through and done your calorie calculators just yet? Raise your hand if you've looked, if you've kind of tried to find your calories. Okay. A couple of you.
Quick question, Coach Cailah. Can you repeat the definition of lean body mass, please?
Lean body mass. All right. Lean body mass. So your body is, it's a thing. Right. So inside of your body, you're going to have water. You're going to have bone, right? You're going to have a fat mass. You're going to have organ, skin, and tissue, and you're going to have muscle mass. All of these things are lean except for fat mass. Okay, so lean body mass is everything but the fat mass. Fat mass, fat body fat percentage is just the percentage of your overall body that is consisting of fat. Now, ideally for women, since I see primarily women here on the screen, ideally for women, your body fat should be less than 32%. Okay, 32% is considered obese. 25 to 31.9 is considered over fat. That means there's too much fat on the body. 19 or 20 to 24.9 is considered normal. Under anywhere between 10 to 20 is considered athletic. Okay. So if you have a scale that can show your body fat, not your BMI, nobody cares about BMI, okay, not your BMI. If you have a scale that can show your body fat, utilize those numbers. A lot of times we set targets based on body fat percentage and not necessarily weight, because there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Okay, good question. All right, so we're gonna hop right back in. You guys are still seeing my screen, right?
Yep, you're good.
I see the screen. All right, okay, moving forward. I'm trying to go super fast because this is a lot of content, guys. It's a lot of content. It's like a whole half of my degree. Okay. All right, so the next area is balancing carbs, fats, and proteins. So yes, we get it. You're like, all right, coach, I got it. My calories in have to be different than my calories out, right? If I want to see a change, they have to be different. If I want to gain weight, my calories in should be more than my calories out. If I want to lose weight, my calories in should be less than my calories out. But coach, I heard you say something specific about the thermic effect of food and how different areas of food or different macronutrients can provide a different benefit to your body. Well, thanks. I'm glad you remember that. Let's hop into that. Balancing carbs, fats, and proteins. All right, so the basics of your basics of your macros. There are 4 macronutrients. You have carbohydrates, you have fats, you have proteins, and you have alcohol. So if you've ever seen someone, let's say they're at the bar, it's like a dude, he's got a big old belly around his midsection, right? That is probably a beer belly. And it's really a thing because alcohol does provide not necessarily nutrients, but it does provide energy, i.e. calories to the body. So be careful of how you drink and the combination of how you eat. All right, carbohydrates. We're going to go real fast through this, okay? So carbohydrates with this beautiful picture here are pretty much majority of your plants. Majority of your plants are carbohydrates. Any kind of plant is going to be some kind of carbohydrate, right? At some level. Now, carbs are going to give you 4 grams per calorie. All right. So what that means, oh shoot, that's backwards. 4 calories per gram. So what that means is that if I consume 1 gram of carbohydrates, then my body can glean 4 calories from that gram. Okay. So it's not a 1-for-1 ratio. All right. It's a 1-to-4 ratio. Carbs are very bulky, right? They can help add bulk to your stool. They can help, increase with fiber. They also hold water. So carbs have, outside of the fibers being awesome, outside of the phytonutrients, the phytochemicals, outside of all of those micronutrient benefits, carbs are an awesome fuel source, right? And it is the fastest burning fuel source your body has. Okay, so if you need to jump up and run from a bear or a Donald Trump, then carbs is what you're going to use. All right, so that fight or flight syndrome, right? Your body is going to, after hormones are released, your body is going to immediately use carbohydrates because it can burn carbs extremely fast. Okay, packed full of nutrients. Fats. Okay, fats is more metabolically expensive than carbs. Okay, so for every gram of fats, your body is going to take away 9 calories. Set it backwards, right? So for every gram of fat, your body's going to take away 9 calories. Okay. Now, fats are essential to your body. If anybody tells you they are not, they are wrong. And tell them I said it. Give them my number. Have them call me. I'll educate them. Fats are essential to your body. Your brain is at least 40% fat, sometimes 40 to 60%, depending on the person. Okay. Your cell walls, 100% fat. Your body needs that. Okay. So fat is not the enemy, nor are carbohydrates the enemy. So fats are good, point blank, period. Okay. It's just about the ratio that we have fats, carbs, and proteins in. Okay. Proteins. Now, proteins, 4 calories per gram. Now, proteins themselves are extremely metabolically expensive. They are the most expensive nutrient, meaning that, again, like that ribeye, that steak example I gave you earlier, it takes more energy for your body to burn a gram of protein than it does a gram of anything else. All right. First is protein, second is fat, and then lastly is carbohydrates. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because carbs are fast burning fuel. It can't be super expensive if your body needs to use it fast. So if you want to work on increasing the thermic effect of food, increase your protein, increase your fat. That's an easy way to increase your overall calorie expenditure. So here is a wonderful meal. Okay. We've got some quinoa, we've got some chicken, some avocado, some carrots. What is that? Red cabbage. I think those are Brazilian nuts, apples, and berries, and spinach randomly on the table. Okay, so this is a complete meal here. If you are vegan, vegetarian, don't be offended at the chicken. I just put it, it's a great picture, it's cute. Okay. There are ways to get your protein outside of animal protein, and it is completely okay. Your calories may be a little different. We'll get into that later, but you can still do it. All right. Now, here is a rule of thumb that I want you to write down, live it, learn it first, then live it, and remember it. All right. Here's a rule of thumb. You have your 3 main your 3 main macros: carbs, fats, and proteins. Those are your 3 main. If you can balance them out in a way to lose fats, obviously that's the goal. Now, you have to do it in certain ways. If you want to keep your calories just about the same, all right, but you want to manipulate your macros, then the easiest thing to do would be to go a lower carb, higher fat, higher protein, right? If you're not a big fan of fat and you're okay with limiting your calorie intake, then you want to do a low fat, higher carb, higher protein. Okay. So you can lose fat with either a low carb or a low fat. It's been done point blank, period, for years and years and years. Either one, both works, but you cannot do them together. So what I try to do is separate and make things easier. All right. So I'm going to give you 2 options to start with. You have a low fat option, okay, which means that your your carbohydrates and proteins are going to be higher, which is good. You also have a low carbohydrate option, okay, which means that your fat and your protein are going to be higher, okay? So those are your two kind of big swings. So pick one and stick with it. I tell this to my 12-week challengers. Pick one, stick with it for a few months, at least, a month and a half to 2 months. Stick with it. See how your body likes it. Adjust your calories. Because the biggest thing about balancing your macros is, number one, do you like that style? That's number one. Are you able to stick to it? Okay. Do you like the foods, right? Or do you find yourself craving different types of foods? If you find yourself craving foods, you're going to break that style and it's not going to be okay. All right. So pick a style, either low fat or low carb. Stick with it for a few months. Monitor your calories, because sometimes if your macros are on point, but your calories you're overeating, then you're going to gain weight. Okay, so use the balancing scale we discussed a little earlier to help you kind of walk through it. Obviously, this is a webinar, so I'm not able to give you a specific detail per person, right? But the easiest thing to do is pick a style and stick with it, all right? Manipulate your overall calories. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm so sorry. In terms of your calories, right? If you're looking to tip the scale, okay? If you're looking to tip the scale, one of the easiest things to do is to look at decreasing your daily intake, if you want to do fat loss, by 500 calories, okay? So you can decrease your daily intake by 500 calories, and then by the end of the week, you'll lose a pound of fat, okay? Every day, decrease your overall calories. So whatever the calorie calculator told you, decrease it by about 500, right? This is nutrition only, not including exercise. So nutrition only, decrease it 500 calories. If you want to add exercise, then just decrease it by about 250, because your workout is probably going to average 250 to 300 calories per session. So 250 plus 250 is 500, right? So if you want to make it a little bit easier, incorporate both nutrition and exercise in your plan. Okay, so I wouldn't suggest going too much under 500 calorie reduction, because that's something that you can sustain. All right. So yes, that's a huge tip there. If you want to lose fat, decrease your overall calories by 500. Either half through nutrition and half through exercise, or all through nutrition. The reverse is technically true. Yes, you could do it all through exercise based off of the numbers. But again, we might fall into some other issues where if you do, let's say, a high carb and a high fat day, you're going to start gaining weight just due to the metabolic processes of it. But don't want to stay there too long. Any questions on this area? Any questions on this area of calories and balancing your macros?
Yeah, we have a question. If you lose fat by decreasing calories, does it affect gaining fat later?
Big sister, that's an amazing question. If you lose fat by, say it again, Mia.
If you lose fat by decreasing calories, does it affect gaining fat later?
Only if it's not a lifestyle change. Okay. So here's the thing. Remember that balancing scale we went through? So if you decrease your calories, right? So that means the scale kind of tips up and you increase your exercise, right? So we're at the point where we want to lose weight. Great. Now we've lost the weight, but if you keep doing the same thing, that balances out. So now that's your new set point. So what happens is people end up, okay, well, I'm done dieting, and so I'm going to go back to my normal lifestyle. And then they add more calories and exercise stays the same. And then they're back to gaining weight. So we lost weight because we decreased our calories. So we're in a caloric deficit, right? And then we actually started to mellow out, right? We started to get into that homeostasis because we lost weight. But because we mentally, I want more food. That's what it is. I want more food. Not I need, but I want more food. So then our calories go back up. So if you change your nutrition style to a point where you have lost a bunch of weight, that caloric intake that you were doing, it becomes your new set point for calories. So if you add calories to that, you're going to gain weight. Now, the difference is if you are just trying to cut for something and you don't mind going back to your weight that you started, then that's okay. That's okay, right? So if I wanted to get down to like my powerlifting weight, which is like 137. I would have to cut, right? Put myself in a caloric deficit to get down there. If I'm okay where I am right now, then I know that the deficit is temporary. If I'm not okay where I am right now and I want to stay there, then I have to make that deficit my new normal. Did that answer your question?
Awesome. We have one more question. How does drinking water impact macros, or does it make an impact?
That's an interesting question. Water does not impact your macronutrients. Water, H2O, that high quality H2O, it is not a macronutrient. It does not provide your body with energy. It provides your body with a essential nutrients, right? You need water. Like my mouth getting dry right now. Hold on. It provides your body with an essential, nutrient, but it's not a calorie. It's not a calorie. Sam, good question. What are the questions we have on calories, ladies and gents? All right. So let's
in the chat, so you're clear.
Okay, so we're gonna hop right back into it. I had to put your faces back on because I couldn't see you. Okay. All right. If you need help, nutrition is a hard subject. Okay. Nutrition is a very tough subject. New things come out every single day, and it might make you think that, oh, well, let me try this. And then you swing to this style. And then let me try this and swing to this style. It can be very difficult. Nutrition is individual. So you do need something specific for your body, right? Sometimes generalizations can work, but it might not work for you. It might not work for your style, for your needs. So if you need help, Coach Mia is going to put the link to actually schedule a strategy session with us so that we can walk through your goals and your needs and kind of set a strategy in place, right? And hopefully you might want to join one of our programs. All right. Flexible nutrition methods. So far, we've gone through the basics and the foundations of calories in versus calories out. We secondarily went into calories and how to calculate your calories, number one, okay? And what to look for in a calorie calculator. Then number two, we also went into balancing your macronutrients, okay? So the third and the last part of this webinar is going to be about different flexible nutrition methods. So some of them are going to be on screen and the others might be kind of conversational.
Coach Cailah, I'm going to interrupt you before we get into the next section. One last question related to the calorie calculator. If you're using MyFitnessPal, should you adjust the calories based on the calorie calculator?
Oh, wait. If you're using MyFitnessPal, my thumbs up was going to, if you're using MyFitnessPal and you want to lose weight, adjust it yourself to that 500 deficit, right? But what was the actual question, Mia?
Do you want to adjust it based on the calorie calculator? That question is from Nichelle. Nichelle, do you want to add some details around that?
Yes, or just because MyFitnessPal assumes, you put in your weight basically, right? So it's not asking your body fat. So that calculator is more specific. But I know that you can go into MyFitnessPal and make, custom adjustments.
Oh, yes. I absolutely hate MyFitnessPal's calorie calculator. That's why I created my own, right? I hate it, okay? Because it's not accurate. It's not even close. Many calorie calculators are up to 20% plus or minus. So in other words, it could tell you to be eating 20% more than what you should or 20% less than what you should. That's a huge area for variation. I don't like it, right? But if you have a good calorie calculator or a good coach that can tell you what your calories are, then you can go into MyFitnessPal and change not only the calories as your goals, you can also change the macros. Right? Their macro sets, they go by fives. So you might put your protein like up to 30 and then put your carbs at 55 and then put your fats at, I don't know, whatever the balance might be, right? So you can manipulate MyFitnessPal to meet your needs. Does that answer that question? Good. Awesome. I see 2 hands raised, it looks like. Ms. Veronica, is there a question on calories, carbs, anything like that?
So my question is, I have been walking for at least an hour consistently every day. That's been my goal. And then I increased it to an hour and a half and 2 hours. And I'd like to know if you can put in the chat or if you can email me, or I've been getting texts from after registering for this, and maybe on that text, they can send me a recommended YouTube with physical exercises I can do, because I don't want to walk more. Not because I don't want to walk. I actually totally enjoy the fresh air, the vitamin D from the sun, and just the deep breathing. I'm enjoying that. I just don't want to take 2 hours, more than 2 hours of my day to do it.
Yeah.
But I want some exercises that focus on core strength and, you know, the areas that women tend to get flab. That's where I need to go so that I can just walk for an hour a day and exercise, you know, for 30 minutes to do whatever. I have a rebounder or a trampoline. I think that's what you're bouncing on. I have one. I'm not using mine because I have a torn meniscus in my knee that it doesn't bother me when I walk, and I'm just, and I just had an MRI of my ankle. So I'm concerned that if I bounce on that, I might make something worse. And I also want to just, it's not the type of rebounder that has the pole.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, the pole so you don't fall. That's
Ms.
what I would like.
Mia, can you send her my YouTube channel? So I've got tons of videos on YouTube.
You could just tell me what it is and I'll just go on my phone.
If you type in Coach Cailah, you might find it. Mia's actually going to send you the link so that you can actually click it, and then it might be easier to get to. But it
I found it. I'm good.
Okay, you got it?
Found it. Yep.
Okay, perfect. It
right,
also does sound like you might need a little bit of one-on-one training. We could chat offline about that, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to have to go through and pick which YouTube, you know, link. And I was like, I just need to I want to do the same thing over and over. Okay. Not over and over, but I just want to start. That's all. I want to start.
All right. Well, I know that channel will help you out, okay?
Thank you.
All right, ladies, we want to keep it moving. So flexible nutrition methods, okay? So I like to keep things really simple. So I'm going to give you a few different options and then how to manipulate those options, because everything pretty much falls in between. All right, so one of my most favorite things is intermittent fasting. Okay, intermittent fasting is absolutely awesome. Point blank, it is periods of feasting and fasting. So periods where you eat and periods where you don't eat. Now with intermittent fasting, you may have heard, 16 and 8. There is truly no set time to do it. There are different recommendations, but you can do it kind of intermittently, right? You can step your way up into a longer time, okay? And it's also, you don't have to do it 24, you have to do it every single day, okay? The most common area of intermittent fasting is that 16 and 8, all right? So what that means is that you are feeding yourself for 8 hours out of the 24-hour period, and then you're fasting 16 out of those hours. Now, let's just say you sleep 6 to 8 hours, right? That means that essentially you are putting yourself in a position where you're eating at a smaller time frame throughout the day, okay? So you're eating 8 hours and you may be fasting whatever the balance is, okay? So most common is 16 and 8, all right? Now, intermittent fasting has some absolutely amazing benefits, and these are just a few, okay? Just a few. It helps you increase your own personal control over food. If we don't have restrictions, we don't do a good job. That's just how it is. Why do you think we did a better job when we were kids with certain things? Because we had mom or dad telling us what to and what not to do. So sometimes you need to become your own mom and your own dad in charge of your nutrition. Tell yourself, nope, I can't eat after this time frame. I can't eat before this time frame. So restrictions are good, We get into this mental area where we throw an adult temper tantrum because we don't want to be restricted, but it actually is a positive thing that it does help. Okay. So it increases the food control. It can also help increase your fat loss outside of just simply calories in versus calories out. Okay. It increases cell healing through a process called autophagy. If you guys remember Pac-Man, right? The little thing that goes like this and just eats little things, right? So the process of autophagy is literally Pac-Man, where you have a cell, a healthy cell that goes through and it eats dead, decrepit, dying, and diseased cells. And that's how you start to increase wrinkle or decrease wrinkles around the face. That's how you start to improve any kinds of healing, joint pains, like everything improves on intermittent fasting when done properly. Also you can increase protein synthesis, meaning you can build more lean toned muscle. Okay, so these are just a few, literally 4 out of maybe 20 specific benefits that happen as a result. Now, intermittent fasting do's, all right? Start off with a manageable time. Don't just jump to 16 and 8 if you're used to fasting or if you're used to eating breakfast in the morning. So what that means is that, let's say 16 and 8, let's say you stop eating at 8 p.m. at night, right? So in the next 6 minutes, no more eating, okay? And then in the morning, you wouldn't eat again until 12 noon. So again, if you're used to eating breakfast or eating breakfast and a snack between, 6 a.m. and 12, you're going to struggle. So start off with manageable periods of time. Don't just jump to 16 and 8, right? Start off with maybe, all right, I might start eating at 10 instead of 8, right? I might start eating at 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. Or then push it back to maybe 10:30 the next day. And then the next day, push it back to 11 and then push it back to 11:30. So incrementally set that time up, okay? The next thing is evenly balance your calories, okay? So yes, after breaking your fast, i.e. break fast, after breaking your fast, you're probably going to be pretty hungry, which is a good thing, but you don't want to just gorge on whatever's there, all right? You want to have an even balance of calories for both that break fast and all the other meals throughout your feasting. You can have as many meals as you want to between those 8-hour time frames or as few as you want to. It's completely up to you. It's very organic, okay? But do have a limit on how many calories you eat per day. And also eat healthy. Just because you're intermittent fasting doesn't mean go and break your fast with McDonald's or Taco Bell or junk food, right? Or Cheesecake Factory, okay? So just don't break your fast with crap. The best thing to break your fast with is something awesome, right? Get you some healthy carbs, some healthy fats, and healthy proteins. Have a well-balanced meal surrounding that, unless you're on a specific nutrition style that calls for a varying macronutrient level, okay? Also, the other do is exercise while fasting. Fasted exercise for fat loss is absolutely amazing. And it also does create some awesome wonders for protein synthesis and muscle gain as well. So if you exercise while fasted, you will see increased benefits of not just simple weight loss, but increased overall health benefits. Okay, and I know the majority of folks here, yes, weight loss is awesome, but health is awesome too. Okay, so here are a few do's to do for intermittent fasting. Here are my only 2 don'ts. Okay, don't replace the missed meal with more calories. All right. So don't replace the missed meal with more calories. Let's say you're eating 1,500 calories a day on average, and you eat 3 meals a day. So what that would mean would be, say, breakfast is 500, lunch is 500, dinner is 500, just for the numbers, okay? So if you're going to skip breakfast, don't add more calories for a lunch and dinner, right? Or don't just simply like, okay, I'm going to gorge on a whole bunch of food and now my breakfast is now 800 calories and I'm still going to have 500 for lunch and 500 for dinner. Now that scale, that balancing scale, now you're overeating. So keep your calories minimally at that maintenance level, but at best, keep your calories lower if you're trying to lose weight. And then the other main don't is don't think it's 24/7. You don't have to intermittent fast Monday through Friday. You don't have to. You can intermittent fast, if you wake up, you're not hungry, okay, don't eat. That's fine, right? Or you can say, I'm going to fast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It doesn't matter. You can do it 24/7 if you wish, but don't think you have to, especially if you're starting your way out. Okay. So intermittent fasting is one of my favorites. It's my favorite because it can be included and incorporated in a bunch of other areas and a bunch of different types of nutrition. Okay. Moving on. My other favorite is the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is one of my favorite nutrition styles because we've been taught so wrong on carbs, fats, and proteins, right? We've been taught, myself included, that fat is bad. It is unhealthy. It's going to clog your arteries and clog your lungs, right? Did you know that oil and water don't mix? You guys know that. Raise your hand, right? You know that. You see that before. Oil and water don't mix. So your body is amazing. So it has its own process and it has its own system to actually manage the fat. So as you consume fat, it's not going straight to your arteries. It's not going straight in your bloodstream, right? That's not how it operates. But the purpose of the ketogenic diet is to decrease your total fat storage, which frees up your fat to actually be utilized. So instead of storing the fat that you do consume, you're putting it into a position where your body can use it and not store it. All right. Here are again just a few benefits. Increased blood sugar control. So if you're a diabetic, this is one of my easy fixes to type 2 diabetes. Okay. Increased fat loss, increased HDL, which is considered your good cholesterol. It will lower your LDL, and it can also increase your control over your own carb cravings. Okay. Keto dudes. Have a food go-to list. All right. Explore, experiment, have fun, become a little kitchen wizard. Do it yourself. Limit your processed meats. Don't do dirty keto. That's dumb. That's just not healthy. Don't do bacon wrapped burgers and all like no, there's a way to do it in any nutrition style. Okay. There's only one that doesn't abide by this rule, but in any nutrition style, plants should be your primary source for food. All right. So keto should be built around your veggies and your low sugar fruits. Okay. At least give keto 4 weeks, at least give it a month. Try it for a month. Okay. Just try it for a month. Then if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Right. But your body is literally changing its metabolic process. So the thing that it's been doing for however old you are, it's literally changing its metabolic process. So give your body time to change. Okay. And again, balance your meals around your veggies. Keto, don't overeat, don't quit too early, and don't do dirty keto. The next thing, had to put this on here, is a vegan, vegetarian, or some kind of plant-based. All right. Now, the interesting thing is what I just said about keto is that your food should be based around plants. So for real, any nutrition style should be based around plants. Okay. So eat plants and eat a whole bunch of them. That's my take on vegan vegetarianism. Now, the difference is that you do have to be super in control of your overall calories because you can easily overeat on carbohydrates. It's harder to overeat on fats and proteins, but you can easily overeat on carbs. So you have to watch that. You are going to have to go higher carb. Okay. So your body won't be able to eat enough food, unless you're supplementing to get a good amount of fats in your nutrition or proteins or so on. So pretty much low fat is going to be the easiest way to go. And it's almost natural to have a low fat, vegan, vegetarian style nutrition. Okay. And there are several other nutrition styles. Again, you can do high carb and low fat. There are several other styles. The biggest thing that we need to take away is calories in versus calories out at the biggest level. Okay. Understanding what is going to help you spend more calories. Okay. And understanding how many calories your body needs. All right. So what's going to move that needle? All right. In terms of, again, if you consume 1,500 calories and you want to lose weight, that means you got to drop the calories. Do you really only want to eat 1,000 calories, or do you want to eat 1,500 and go exercise more? Right. What's easier for you? I know Coach Mia and we'd rather exercise more. We've had this conversation several times. So we will be out exercising 2 or 3 hours because we like food too much. Okay. And that's how we balance it out. All right. Balancing your carbs, fats, and proteins. the biggest thing to take away again with this area is it is dangerous to have high carb and high fat at the same time. High carb and high fat at the same time is the recipe for weight and fat gain, not muscle gain, but fat gain. So whatever style you stick with, you've got to lower, or at least manage one. If you go with low fat, cool, keep it fairly low. If you go with low carbs, cool, keep it low. All right. I'm not going to get into micros and poisons and things like that. But again, pick a style and stick with it. You could do intermittent fasting and do vegan. You can do keto and eat 6 meals a day. You can do paleo and do keto. It's just keto paleo. You can do paleo and do vegan, right? So there are so many different styles of nutrition. It doesn't really matter. Just find out what your body needs in terms of the calories, in terms of the balance, and in terms of what your goals are, whether it be for fat loss or for muscle gain. Any questions? I know I spun through that super duper fast, probably one of my fastest presentations in the entire world, but we went over a lot of information. This is your open opportunity to holler at the coach and ask me any questions that you have.
Do not be shy. Now is your time.
If anything needs to be clear, let me clear it up for you.
Okay, I got a question.
Here we go.
So, I'm watching my calories and I'm eating healthy, and then I don't lose any weight. But the next day I was like, I'll just eat a cupcake and I'll lose a pound or two. Why is that?
So if you are consistently eating too low and you actually give your body some nutrients, some calories, even though it may not be the best, your body will operate a little better because you're actually consuming the calories that your body needs. So intermittent fasting does work, but just not eating just to not eat because you got busy is not intermittent fasting. All right. That's hurting your body. So you need to put your nutrition on a schedule. So yes, it can happen, but I guarantee you it wasn't because you ate that cupcake. Does that make sense? So I'm not going to give you that one, Kendra.
So I just wasn't eating enough calories. I need to eat more calories and it would probably be better.
First, start to log your food for about 7 days.
Okay.
Find out what your average is. Okay. And then schedule a strategy session so that we can work through it.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, we have a couple questions in the chat, but Miss Crawford Thomas raised her hand, so I did not pronounce your name, so I went with the last. Go ahead.
No problem. It's Tyus.
Okay.
Yes. So I came in around 6:20. I was having some difficulty, so I'm not sure if I missed it. But what is the, I guess, formula or requirement when you want to gain muscle? And then secondly, of the eating styles that you mentioned, what would be the best for that to build muscle and not have so much fat?
Eating styles are, and the second one is easier. Eating styles are depends on your palate. It depends on your taste buds. It depends on your texture issues and types of foods that you'd want to eat. So the eating style almost doesn't matter because it only counts if you can stick to it. Okay.
Clarification: either the vegan, the paleo, the intermittent fasting, that style is what I mean.
Same.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Same. Because again, Coach Mia is pretty much vegan and she's a power lifter. I did my powerlifting competitions straight keto, completely opposite. She did her figure competition vegan. I did my bikini competition keto, completely opposite. And we both did extremely well. So it's about what can you stick to? Okay. So the style isn't as important as the macros nor the calories. All right.
Okay.
So going to the macros and the calories, right? You want to put yourself in a caloric surplus. meaning that if you have your maintenance calories, so calculate your calories, right? If you have your maintenance calories, start to add. I would start off by maybe 250, add 250 calories, a day, and then use that for about a week. See how that feels, right? But majority of those calories should be protein. All right. So if you are going, let's say you're vegan, right? Plant-based, it's hard to get adequate protein without increasing calories so much. So then you have a whole bulking phase, right? If you don't want to bulk, which is just get overall bigger as well as including muscle, then keep your protein fairly high. And that protein can be anywhere from, 25 to 35% of that meal. Okay. But again, find your maintenance calories, number one. Number two, add about 250 to start, just to see how your stomach tolerates it, and then add another 250 the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then again, keep the protein high in those meals, as well as monitoring your veggies. That answer?
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Coach Cailah, what if you are not hungry, but you still have calories left to eat?
That's always a hard one. That's always a hard one, because there's a difference between being hungry and wanting or not wanting food. Some people have they may not have a positive relationship with food, where it's just like, it's not really important, but if you're not hungry and you're already healthy, then it is okay to skip that meal. But if you are not hungry and your weight has been like this and your hormones are like this and this and this and this and this and this and this, then we need to actually get on a schedule first. All right. Because I can't give you sound advice when your body's doing this. So whatever I get, it may hit, it may miss for that day. Okay. So again, that really depends on how healthy, are you, as in terms of your hormones, in terms of your nutrition. Like, is there something that's already in place that you're working through? Whoever asked that question, I highly encourage you to click that link that Coach Mia sent out, schedule the strategy session, because we need to get into some real details about your nutrition.
That was Nichelle. She's already on track. IP, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Your question is, what about eating 5 to 6 meals a day? What that seems more sustainable. Can you give some more details around that, or clarity rather?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, so that's more about eating 3 standard meals a day and then 2 snacks in between. That seems more sustainable than keto or intermittent fasting, but I didn't hear anything about that type of eating habit.
Because that's a habit, not a nutrition style. You can choose to eat, you can choose to graze all day if you want to, right? We have a 14-day detox where the point is to literally graze all day. There's no meals per se, but you're eating all day, but it's about what are you consuming, right? So in terms of, should you do 3 meals, should you do 5 or 6, it's up to you and your stomach. It's up to what you can manage, right? Some people can't exercise on an empty stomach or on a full stomach, and neither one is better than the other. The only one that is better than the other is one that you can sustain, and that helps you. So if you choose to eat 3 meals a day, that's great. You can eat 3 meals a day and go intermittent fasting, right? Your first meal would just start later. You can eat 3 meals and be vegan or be keto or be paleo or be, fruitarian, whatever. You can, the amount of meals doesn't matter. That's why we didn't get into that, right? But I know it is a big issue because people think that it is. So the biggest thing is calories. Find your overall calories, right? Then understand your macros, whether it should be high carb, or low fat. And then from there, take those calories and those macros and divide them by however many meals you want to eat.
Awesome. Perfect. That answer your question?
Yes.
Great. All right. Coming over to Miss Veronica, and then Nichelle, we're going to end with your question in the chat. Go ahead, Ms.
So one thing that, and I want to say hello to all my sorors on the line. I heard some shouts in the chat, and I just posted a reply, but I wanted to let everyone know that I did receive that, and nice to see SOARs leading out and being supported by other SOARs. My question was, you mentioned high protein, but I've always been taught that that is the wrong way to go, that we are getting enough protein. It's the high fiber diet. And I am vegan, and I believe his name is Dr. Milton Mills.
Mhm.
It was Milton Brown, I forget. And he says that's a myth, that people promote high protein diet. And I just wanted to know, was there a purpose, or was there a different, have you heard of that? What's your thought on that?
Yes, I have. And thank you so much for asking that question. So here's where the myth of high protein started. There was a study done, I don't know, maybe 2 decades ago, on subjects who had kidney issues, right? And long story short, they were put on high protein diets and their kidneys got further jacked up, and then everybody thought, okay, high protein is not good. All right. So again, the study is incorrectly publicized because it was done on non-healthy individuals. But in terms of fat loss, one of the best things you can do is high protein, because it's a thermic effective food, as well as your body needs it, right? And high fiber in the same vein. High protein, high fiber nutrition styles are absolutely amazing for fat loss, right? So as you are vegan, right, your high protein would look different than someone else's high protein. Okay, so you're going to have just because you would have to eat, a super high amount of foods. And I'm not a fan of supplements. Like, I'm not going to tell you to take a protein powder, right? There's literally no need to take a protein powder unless you are competing for something where your body requires that. For the average person, your body does not require excess protein. I always will recommend you get your food from real foods. Okay.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So if you are looking to lose weight, high protein is still awesome, right? But your high protein might not be 35 grams of protein per meal, and that's okay, right? Your high protein may be more like 15. It may be more like 20. But that means that if your carbohydrates are super high, your protein is moderate and your fats have to be low if you don't want to gain fat, as well as monitor your overall calories. So again, nutrition is extremely individual, right? So for you specifically, that you won't be able to have the same high protein that maybe Tejas, how I said it so wrong? Tejas, it has, right? You may not be able to have that.
Highest. It's highest.
Highest, thank you. Right, because of your nutrition style. So it's about fitting the calories and the macro balances into that style. Right. It's almost impossible to have super high protein on a vegan diet. And the way that I'm recommending it right now. So it does not match with veganism. Your high protein is more on percentages than anything else. So it is not false. It is true, right? You still need high protein that can help, but what that looks like is different. And so that's where Dr. Whoever may have taken that and said, you don't need it because technically it's not this, that, and other. So it is true. It does help high protein and high fiber. But in terms of supplementing, I didn't supplement for my powerlifting competition. So I don't know why anybody would have to supplement for fat loss. You don't need it. You get your food from food.
My other question is, I am transitioning to permanent lifestyle changes. That's why I became a vegan, plant-based vegan. So my concern is, I don't want to start something that I'm not going to do forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I am not going to track my food forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless I train my body now to do whatever it needs to do, I don't want to start tracking my food respectfully. And I want you to know that I'm not saying that what she's saying isn't working. I'm just talking about Veronica and what Veronica wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to start doing something that I'm just doing for a time and then I stop. I want to do stuff that I'm going to do forever and it work for my quality of life and my quality of health.
Now,
So
let me
go
give you
ahead.
some info on that, right? When I went keto, I was like, I will be keto for the rest of my life. It's gonna be freaking awesome. And what did I have for lunch today? I had oatmeal for lunch. Right? Coach Mia was vegan for years and years and years and years and years, right? And she was raw vegan, yeah, right? And then currently that's not our lifestyle, right? So we go through seasons in our lives where things change. Your taste buds change, your environment changes, your situation changes, and that's okay, right? So if you want to go, vegan, be okay if 10 years down the road you might eat an egg or two. Be okay with that, right? Number two, in terms of logging your food, you don't have to log your food every day. Hell, I don't. That's way too much. I'm not doing that. I don't recommend logging food every day to any of my clients because that's a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of work. But what I do recommend is let's start to track a few things, right? So let's start to track, maybe log your food maybe twice a week, maybe 3 days a week, until you understand what you're consuming, until you understand how much your protein, how much carbs, how much fat, until you actually feel the numbers in your whole soul, then kind of back off of logging. That's why I don't log, because I know what I'm consuming. And then when I'm not sure, then I'm going to log it just because I want to know. So you do not have to log for every day for the rest of your life. You don't have to. You do want to log until you understand your own personal habits and until you understand what the food is that you are consuming.
Okay. And then my last question, and then I promise I won't ask another question tonight, is for someone who knows that they are overweight or obese, is it true or is it not true that the what are they called? The national height, weight, gender
BMI.
list of weight, the one that says if you are this height, then you should be this weight.
BMI, body mass index.
Well, I'm actually not talking about BMI, although that is important. It's probably more important than getting to a certain weight. Are because people say, well, what's your goal? And I was like, well, I don't have a goal for my weight. I'm not trying to look a certain, I'm not trying to weigh a certain amount, but I just want to be healthy. So should I have a numeric goal? And if those charts that have, if you are female and you are this height, then you should be within this weight. And if you're in this weight, then you're obese. If you're in this weight, you're overweight. If you're this one, you are ideal. Is that for all ethnic groups, or is that unrealistic? What's your thought on that? And thank you for your time.
I'm gonna pop in because early in the presentation, Cailah actually gave some parameters, and she was going off your body fat, using the body fat percentage ranges that she gave at the beginning of the presentation, and going off of that as opposed to a general chart. The chart may follow actually what she already said, but going off of those numbers. And Cailah, can you repeat those numbers?
Yes. So for and Dewan, I think you're right, the ideal body weight, right? But for body fat percentage, that is a good goal to have, right? Now, I said this a few days ago. It is okay to be over fat. It's just up to what you want, right? It's up to what you want to look like. So you do need to have an ideal image in your mind so that you have a target, right? The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. So you have to have something down so that you know what you're actually reaching for. Okay. I would advise and recommend you to find something, right? I don't care if it's an outfit that you want to fit into, if it's certain circumferences or certain shape. We do progress photos and tape measurements in our program. But one of the big things that is extremely important is body fat percentage. That body fat percentage for women, if you are over 32%, you are considered obese. All right. Obese is way too much fat, and that's what leads towards health issues, especially for African American women, right? Almost 90, if not more, percent of our issues are due to obesity or linked to obesity. Okay. So we need to be lower than 32%. All right. Now you can have all the curves that you want to, but be healthy and be healthy long term. All right. So obesity begins at 32%. This is not about overall weight, but that's what the percentage of your body total weight is fat. Okay. Over fat is 25 to 31.9. Normal is 20 to 24.9. Athletic is anywhere like 10 to 19.9. And then under that 10, sometimes there can be some issues. But yeah, I would, yes, BMI is not accurate. Nobody cares at all, right? It doesn't mean anything in the entire world. It is just a simple random association of possible height to possible weight. Okay. But the most important thing to measure is going to be body fat percentage. And the way that you can measure that is you can get a scale. Yes, they're not 100% accurate, but it is a good measurement. So I would look towards getting a body fat percentage that is healthy, right? Definitely under obese. Anything under that should be okay. But also I would look at finding a goal for yourself, right? Being healthy is an extremely subjective measure, okay? Because you might feel healthy, but you might not be. So that's subjective. So I would encourage you to make your goals SMART. It's an acronym, SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So if you're going to set a goal, make that goal SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So those measurable factors come in so that we can actually have something that we're working towards, and we know when we've won. Okay. I hope that answered that question a little bit. Mia, did I answer that? Okay.
Okay, ladies. Last question. is there a macro percentage? This is from Nichelle. Nichelle always asks questions. Is there a macro percentage that you recommend for fat loss?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because everyone's different, right? So it's yes and no. So I've been elbowing Nichelle about signing up for one of our programs. So I'm gonna get you. So you are gonna get it, okay? Because I can actually work specifically with you and what your goals are. So there is no overall general, because you just might not want a Christmas cutter cookie today. It just might not work for you. So we don't do cookie cutters, okay? But yeah, I don't have an overall general. Mia, check your chat. I sent you a message real quick. Ladies, we've got one more thing for you. Mia's going to send you a link in the chat really quickly. And as she's doing that, thank you for your time, your energy. I'm a preacher's kid, so it went a little long. This is kind of early for a preacher's kid because it only went a half an hour over. But thank you guys so much for your time, your attention. Was this helpful for you? Was this helpful? Yeah. Okay, good. I also would love for you guys to put a rating up for us on Google. If you just go to Google and type in Design Your Body Academy, you'll see our business pop up, right? Ratings are helpful, right? They pay the bills. So please go ahead and if you enjoyed it, if you didn't, just say you didn't go to it, right? But if you enjoyed it, please add a rating on Google for us. Just go to google.com and type in Design Your Body Academy. That's the name of the business. My name is Coach Cailah. This is Coach Mia here. She just added a little note for you in the chat box. I would love to sit and talk with you guys, if you have some, further questions, or if you're interested in some elite coaching and services, how we can help you. You have a link in the chat where you can schedule a session directly with us so that we can walk through with you your specific needs and see how we can create a plan that can help design the body of your dreams. Shoot, I want to say Tyus. I keep forgetting. Let's stop it.
The
Sorry.
first,
Right the first time.
you had it the first time.
Tyus.
Tyus, right?
Tyus. Okay. Yeah, Tyus. Yeah, schedule your.
Yeah.
And we can sit and talk about kind of that beginning area. And ladies, thank you so much for your time. My name is Coach Cailah. This is Coach Mia. This is Design Your Body Academy. Hope it was helpful. Again, please send us a rating on Google. We sent you some links in the chat. I hope you guys use those. And thank you guys so much. Have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Ooh.
Ooh.
Deshae, you sticking around?
She's trying to figure out how to get off. And I think that's Miss Deborah there. Saw you sneak in. There we go.
Great job, man.
All done. Whew, that was tough. Oh, stop recording.